The town of Brimstone Hollow lies under the relentless sun, its dusty streets a testament to a time long past. Wooden buildings lean slightly from years of wear, their paint faded and peeling. A gust of wind kicks up loose dirt, swirling it through the narrow alleyways and past shuttered windows. At the centre of town stands the Silver Spur Saloon, an old yet sturdy establishment with weathered wooden steps and a swinging door that creaks with every push. It's the heart of Brimstone Hollow, where cowboys, drifters, and locals come to drown their troubles in whiskey and cheap beer. Inside, the saloon is dimly lit by oil lamps that flicker against aged wooden walls. The scent of cigar smoke lingers, blending with the sharp aroma of alcohol. The piano in the corner sits silent, long neglected. The atmosphere is calm but not without an edge, a place where silence can shift to chaos in a heartbeat. Behind the counter, Sam Holloway moves with practiced ease, cleaning glasses and refilling drinks without much conversation. He's a quiet, unassuming man, respected by the locals but largely overlooked by outsiders. His presence is steady, reassuring, like the foundation of an old stone building. Those who know him appreciate his kindness, but there's something about him, something in the way he carries himself, that suggests he's more than just a bartender. Sam Holloway, middle-aged, rugged, and calm. His weathered face hints at a life well lived, or well fought. He keeps to himself, preferring to avoid trouble, but there's an intensity in his eyes that suggests he's seen more than he lets on. Maggie Ross, the sharp-tongued waitress who keeps the bar running like a well-oiled machine. She's fiercely loyal to Sam and has always suspected there's more to his past than he admits. She watches everything, never missing a beat. Sheriff Tate Carter, the town's weary but fair lawman. He's seen enough to know when trouble's coming, and he knows Sam well enough to sense the man is more dangerous than he pretends to be. He gives Sam space but keeps a watchful eye. The biker gang, outsiders with roaring engines and bad attitudes. They ride into town like they own the place, a jarring contrast to the slow-moving, traditional ways of Brimstone Hollow. Jack's Blackjack Turner, their cocky and unpredictable leader. He thrives on intimidation and enjoys pushing people past their limits. Reaper and Vinny, his closest lackeys, both eager to cause trouble and feed off Jax's chaos. The distant rumble of engines grows louder, breaking the town's usual afternoon quiet. People glance up from their tasks, stepping onto porches and peeking out from windows as a group of bikers rolls in. Their machines kick up clouds of dust, engines growling like hungry predators. Inside the Silver Spur, the sound does not go unnoticed. Maggie pauses, glancing toward the doors. Sam, however, doesn't look up from the glass he's wiping. The doors swing open hard enough to slam against the walls, and in strut the bikers, leather jackets, heavy boots, and smirks that ooze arrogance. Jax Turner leads the way, a self-satisfied grin on his face as he surveys the saloon. "Well, well," he drawls, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Ain't this place a sight?" His men chuckle, swaggering in behind him. They take a table near the bar, kicking their boots up, acting like they own the place. The locals pretend not to notice, but there's an unspoken tension in the air. Maggie walks past Sam, muttering under her breath, "They're trouble." Sam merely nods, still calm, still unreadable. Sheriff Tate Carter, seated at the far end of the room, watches warily but doesn't move. Not yet. The bikers throw around crude jokes, tossing insults at each other and making sure everyone hears them. One of them whistles at Maggie, who glares but says nothing. Sam doesn't react. Jax notices. He leans on the counter, grinning at Sam. "You the bartender?" Sam nods, setting down the glass. "That's right." Jax smirks. "Not much for talkin', huh?" Sam shrugs. Only when it's worth sayin' somethin'. The bikers chuckle. Jax narrows his eyes, intrigued. You got a lot of patience, old man. Sam simply keeps wiping the counter. Across the room, a drunken patron slurs something incoherent before laughing. He waves lazily toward the bar. You ever hear the rumors about Sam Holloway? The room quiets slightly. The bikers glance around. Jax raises an eyebrow. Oh, do tell. The drunk chuckles. Ain't just any bartender. Folks say he's seen his fair share of situations. Jax smirks, unimpressed. That's so. The drunk gestures to a glass case mounted behind the bar. Inside, a worn, custom-made revolver rests on a velvet cloth. Its handle is aged but polished, the craftsmanship unmistakable. That's his. Never seen him touch it, though. Jax tilts his head, intrigued now. That true, old man? Sam doesn't respond. Sheriff Carter, however, shifts in his seat and speaks up. Best not to push, Blackjack. His voice is even, but there's a warning underneath. Jax chuckles. Relax, Sheriff. We're just gettin' to know each other. The air in the saloon grows heavier. The bikers have settled in, but their amusement hasn't worn off. Jax lifts his drink, eyes locked on Sam as he takes a slow sip. Then, without warning, one of his men deliberately knocks over a full glass, the liquid spilling across the counter. Silence. Maggie clenches her jaw. The locals hold their breath. Sam. He simply picks up a rag and begins wiping the mess away, his expression unreadable. Jax grins. Ha! Guess you're just a bartender after all. Maggie, unable to hold back, mutters under her breath. They don't know what they're messing with. Fade to black. The saloon hums with quiet tension, the air thick with the scent of whiskey and dust. The bikers, their leather jackets adorned with skull patches and faded insignias, lean back in their chairs, exchanging smirks as they throw peanuts toward the bar. One peanut bounces off Sam's shoulder. Another lands in his freshly cleaned glass. Sam doesn't react. He keeps polishing the counter, his expression unreadable. Jax Blackjack Turner, the gang's leader, leans forward, grinning. Ain't much of a talker, are ya, barkeep? A regular patron, a wiry ranch hand named Billy, slams his mug down. Leave him be. Ain't done nothin' to you. Jax's smirk widens. He stands up slowly, towering over Billy. Without warning, he shoves him backward. Billy stumbles into a table, knocking over a bottle of bourbon. The glass shatters, and the room falls into an uneasy silence. Maggie, standing behind the bar, tightens her grip on a tray. Her voice is a low warning. Sheriff, you gonna step in now? Sheriff Tate Carter, sitting in the corner, doesn't move. He sips his whiskey and watches. Not yet. Jax chuckles and turns back to Sam. You're awful quiet, old man. He picks up a half-empty bottle of beer and tips it toward Sam. Tell you what. Let's have a little fun. Shooting contest. Winner gets a free round for his boys. Sam finally looks up, his deep-set eyes calm. I don't do that anymore. The bikers burst into laughter. Ain't that a shame? Jax taunts. What's the matter? Hands ain't as steady as they used to be. Another biker, a wiry man with a snake tattoo curling up his neck, grins and pulls a revolver from his belt. He spins the cylinder, places it on the table, and slides it toward Sam. Come on, cowboy. Show us what you got. Maggie stiffens. She's seen this before. One of the older bar patrons mutters under his breath. They don't know what they're doing. Sheriff Carter leans forward slightly. His fingers drum against his holster. He knows what's coming. Sam doesn't move. His hand rests near the glass case behind the bar, the one that holds the old, custom-made revolver no one has seen him use. Sheriff Carter clears his throat and speaks, his voice carrying an edge of warning. "If I were you, son, I'd walk away now." Jax sneers. "Good thing you ain't me." He nudges the revolver closer. "What's wrong, barkeep?" Hands shaken, too much to aim straight. Still, Sam remains quiet. Maggie steps forward to grab an empty glass from the table. One of the bikers, a greasy-haired brute named Axel, catches her wrist. His fingers clamp down. "Slow down, sweetheart," he says, leering. "We ain't done drinking yet." Before anyone can react, Sam moves. In one fluid motion, he grabs Axel's hand and twists. A sickening crack echoes through the saloon. Axel cries out in pain, dropping to his knees as he clutches his wrist. The bar falls silent. The other bikers tense. Jax slowly rises from his chair, his grin gone. Jax tilts his head, cracking his knuckles. "Well now," he says, voice low and dangerous. He gestures to the revolver still sitting on the table. "You're gonna regret that, bartender." The saloon holds its breath. A tense hush falls over the saloon. The weight of what's about to happen presses down on every soul in the room. The regulars, those who've lived in this town long enough to recognize trouble when they see it, start edging toward the door. Within minutes, word spreads like wildfire. A shootout is coming. Jax and his gang swagger toward the exit, shoving chairs aside. "Come on, bartender," Jax calls over his shoulder. "Let's see what you've got." Sam exhales slowly, then reaches behind the bar. His fingers brush against the glass case. He opens it. Sheriff Carter watches, shaking his head. He doesn't stop Sam. He knows this has to play out. The sheriff stands, adjusting his belt, and follows the crowd outside. Out in the dusty street, the townsfolk gather at a safe distance, whispering among themselves. The sun hangs low, casting long shadows over the dirt road. Sam steps outside. His boots crunch against the gravel. The old revolver sits snug in his grip, an extension of the man he used to be. Jax grins, cracking his knuckles. "Hope you're better with that gun than you were at pouring drinks." Sam just watches him, silent, unmoved. Maggie, standing near the saloon doors, speaks up. "You idiots don't even know who you're messing with." Jax scoffs. "Oh yeah, enlighten me." Sheriff Carter crosses his arms. "Sam Holloway. Ever heard the name?" Jax squints. "Should I care?" The sheriff chuckles, but there's no humor in it. "You should. Back in the day, they called him the Ghost Hand. Never missed a shot. Never lost a duel. Men used to pray they'd never find themselves on the other side of his barrel." A murmur spreads through the crowd. A few older men exchange uneasy glances. They remember. Sam's voice is quiet, but firm. "I put that life behind me." He stares at Jax. "You should have walked away." Jax's grin falters for a moment, but he masks it with bravado. "That's a nice story, old man, but I ain't scared of no legend." He steps forward, hands hovering near his holster. Only one way to find out if the stories are true. The street falls deathly silent. Jax flexes his fingers over his revolver. He's quick, faster than most men. He's spent years earning his reputation as a dangerous gunslinger. but he's never faced Sam. The tension is thick enough to choke on. Dust swirls in the air as a breeze rolls through the town. The townsfolk hold their breath. Jax makes his move. His hand flies to his holster. His fingers barely brush the grip. Bang! A single shot. Jax cries out as his revolver flies from his hand, spinning through the air before landing with a dull thud in the dirt. For a moment, Jax just stands there, his hand stinging from the force of the impact. He looks at Sam, eyes wide with disbelief. Sam hasn't moved. His gun is still raised, smoke curling from the barrel. The bikers freeze. The realization dawns on them. This wasn't luck. This was skill. Unmatched, terrifying skill. Jack stares at his empty hand, then at Sam. His face twists with fury. "You son of a..." He spins toward his gang. "Get him!" The bikers reach for their weapons. Sam moves first. Bang, 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 bang. 6 shots. 6 men clutch their hands, their guns knocked clean away, clattering uselessly onto the dirt. Not a single drop of blood spilled. The gang stares at their empty hands, eyes wide with shock. No one speaks. No one breathes. Jax is trembling now, not just from pain, but from rage. Humiliation. His fingers curl into fists, then reach for something else. A knife. With a snarl, he lunges. "I don't need a damn gun to finish you." Sam sidesteps effortlessly. In a blur of motion, he twists Jax's wrist, forcing the knife from his grip. Then, with a swift motion, he flips Jax onto his back. The outlaw slams into the dirt, a cloud of dust rising around him. He gasps, coughing, struggling to push himself up. Sheriff Carter steps forward, adjusting his hat. "Told you to walk away." Jax glares up at Sam, breathing hard. He's beaten. He knows it. But Sam doesn't press further. Sam kneels, picks up Jax's revolver, and dusts it off. He holds it out, offering it back. Jax hesitates, then snatches it from his hand, scowling. Sam meets his gaze, voice steady. "Next time, pick a fight you can win." With that, he turns and walks back toward the saloon. The crowd watches in stunned silence. The bikers scramble to their feet, grabbing Jax and pulling him up. As Sam steps back inside, Maggie shakes her head, exhaling in relief. "You always did know how to make an exit." Sheriff Carter chuckles. "Ain't over yet. Because men like Jax don't forget. And trouble has a way of coming back." A heavy silence lingers in the air as the dust settles. The onlookers, still wide-eyed from the spectacle they just witnessed, slowly regain their senses. Jax groans as he stumbles to his feet, cradling his wrist. His pride is in pieces, shattered just as surely as his confidence. The other bikers, still nursing their bruised hands, exchange nervous glances. They came in thinking they owned this town. Now they can't leave fast enough. Jax spits into the dirt, his face burning with humiliation. His eyes flicker to Sam, still standing calm as ever, gun holstered, unshaken. "This ain't over," Jax snarls. But there's no strength behind it. Just empty words. Sheriff Carter steps forward, resting his hand on his holster. "Yeah, it is." His voice is low, firm. "Get on your bikes. Now." Jax hesitates, but he knows better than to push his luck. With one last glare, he jerks his head toward his men. They limp toward their motorcycles, their once cocky swagger now gone. Engines roar to life, and within moments the gang is gone, vanishing down the road in a cloud of dust. The townspeople begin to murmur, the tension dissolving into relief. Some shake their heads in disbelief. Others chuckle under their breath. Old man Jenkins, who's been drinking at this bar longer than most people have been alive, leans on his cane. "Well, I'll be damned." Maggie steps toward Sam, arms crossed. She looks him up and down, shaking her head with a smirk. "Knew it all along. You ain't know." "Bartender." Sam exhales, then reaches for a bottle behind the bar. He pours himself a drink, the amber liquid swirling in the glass. "Guess I never was." Sheriff Carter pulls out a cigar, biting down on it before lighting up. "You know this means your past ain't stayin' buried, right?" His tone is more statement than question. Sam takes a slow sip of his drink, then sets the glass down. "It never really was it?" The sheriff chuckles, shaking his head. "Nope." The townspeople begin filtering back into the saloon, the tension giving way to celebration. A few men clap Sam on the back, murmuring their respect. Others simply nod, as if recognizing something in him they hadn't before. Maggie leans on the bar. "So what now? Gonna ride off into the sunset like the old westerns?" Sam smirks. "Nah, think I'll stay right here. Someone's gotta serve the drinks." Later that evening, after the saloon has quieted down, Sam finds himself alone. He reaches beneath the bar, pulling out his revolver, the same gun that once defined him. He turns it over in his hands, feeling the weight of it. The memories flood back, old duels, old enemies, old regrets. With a sigh, he stands and walks to the back of the saloon. A wooden case sits on a shelf, worn with age. Slowly, he opens it and places the revolver inside. Click. The case locks. "Some things are better left in the past," he mutters to himself. "Maybe this time, for good." Outside, the town is peaceful once more. The moon casts long shadows across the empty streets. But in the distance, beneath the cover of darkness, a figure watches. Unmoving, silent. Their face is hidden, but their intent is clear. Sam Holloway might think he's left his past behind. But his past isn't done with him. The town of Stillwater sleeps under a silver moon. The echoes of the earlier showdown have faded, but the air still carries the weight of something unfinished. A lone rider emerges from the darkness, his silhouette outlined by the dim glow of the saloon's lanterns. His horse moves at a steady pace, hooves thudding softly against the dusty ground. He doesn't rush. He's exactly where he means to be. Stopping just outside the saloon, the rider swings down from his saddle. His boots land with a deliberate thud. He takes a slow step forward, pausing to examine the fresh bullet holes on the wooden beams. His lips curl into a knowing smirk. Well, well, looks like the dead-eye bartender is back in business. He chuckles under his breath, shaking his head as he dusts off his coat. A worn gun belt rests on his hip, the handle of his revolver polished from years of use. His fingers twitch near it, not out of fear, but anticipation. He steps toward the saloon door, then pauses. The place is quiet now, but inside, he knows the man he's looking for is still awake, still watching. A cool breeze rolls through the street as the stranger tilts his hat back, revealing a pair of sharp, knowing eyes. Eyes that have seen plenty. "Guess I got here just in time." And with that, he pushes open the saloon doors.